Hi, gays and theys. Today we're going to react to things because I don't know. I didn't feel like going through other things, and Colin has some amazing stuff for me to react to today. So, the first thing, actually, I found this. QWERTY just did a post Goose dating app. Was supposed to be like the solution to all the things we hate about dating apps, but apparently there seems to be some crazy terms and conditions that go along with it, where like once you sign up, your likeness can be used by the app for anything at all. And then they changed the terms. I don't really know what the terms are as of right now when we're recording, but also they can be changed at any time. So who knows? Either way, it's crazy. The app landscape out there is nuts. And I am going to take a moment to introduce you, if you haven't heard of Ruck app, RUCK, or meetmarket.io. That's MEET market.io. They are also trying to do the same thing, but I think there's a little bit more integrity in the two different guys that are starting those apps. Probably the next episode will have some kind of crazy update, but all right, let's dive into the first Instagram reel that Colin sent. This is about open relationships. And before we open this, I am in an open relationship. I was very anxious about open relationships prior to this because I've been in 2 back-to-back open relationships, okay? The first one did not go well. Lots of lying, either direct lying or lying through omission, where like I asked, hey, what were you up to today? And he intentionally left out all the guys that he fucked that day. So that gave me a lot of fear around having an open relationship. And to me, honesty is like the core, the foundation of what I'm looking for in a relationship. And so I had a lot of fear around honesty or lying. And thankfully, I have a wonderful, amazing partner now who we have a very good, very honest, very open relationship. And we talk about everything. Like we don't ever sneak around. It's always just out in the open. And I found that actually has made me feel way more secure than I ever felt in any of my monogamous relationships. I don't even know if there is a way that he could cheat on me. And if there was, like, it's just so unlikely because we talk about everything. So it's given me so much security and confidence knowing that my partner will communicate with me and vice versa. I've gotten a lot more comfortable talking about the things that I might do with somebody else that I might feel embarrassed about or weird about or afraid that he might be jealous over. So I highly recommend having an honest, truthful, open relationship. I think it's the best thing that has ever happened to me for my anxiety in relationships. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at this reel. I already feel like I'm going to have thoughts and opinions. Here we go.
To me is why open relationships will never work.
Okay, yes, do you, boo? But then he started with this with open relationships don't ever work. So let's see where this goes.
I'm a gay guy, so I'm talking about gay men in open relationships. I'm in these streets kissing everyone's husband, whether I'm on an app or at the club. Everyone I meet is in an open relationship. And to me, I'm like, whatever. Do you, boo? If that's what works for the two of you, great. We can have some fun. So, we'll go back to my apartment, we'll do what two men do naturally, but then afterwards, they'll start saying shit like, where did you come from? We have such chemistry. I'm not going to tell my boyfriend about you.
Red flag. That is not, I'm not going to tell my boyfriend about you. That is not an honest, open relationship. Sure, that is technically non-monogamous, but I wouldn't say it's got an ethical portion to it. The other thing that I wonder about here, because I don't know. I do believe this guy that there are definitely people that are in open relationships and then sneaking around on their partners, not telling them, right? I experienced that. My first open relationship totally was that way. Shady shit. No, not ethical, not healthy, not honest. But sometimes I wonder for people that say those things, are they saying that just for the fantasy of it? Like, I actually get turned on when I'm hooking up with someone. They're like, oh, my partner's going to be back any minute. We have to make this quick, right? Now, they are open and honestly open with their partner, but there is something that's kind of fun for me about that fantasy of, oh, we might get caught. We might get found out. I grew up in a very religious, very conservative, very restrictive environment. So breaking rules is a turn on to me. Playing around with role playing that we're going to get caught because we're doing something bad, like that is hot to me and does turn me on. And my hope would be that at least some of these people that are saying this to this guy, that that's their situation. However, we know that that's not always the case. Okay, let's watch more.
And my internal response when I hear that is, fuck you. Because what that instantly makes me think is, I don't want to be out of town on tour for a month and think that my boyfriend is going to be in our apartment with some dude telling him, you're so amazing, we have such chemistry, I'm not going to tell my boyfriend about you.
Exactly. Like I said at the beginning, you can have lying, dishonest, open relationships. Even if you're both consensually non-monogamous, hiding things from your partner, unless that's your agreement with your partner that like, we don't really talk about it, just do whatever you want. Just like every couple also has different guidelines, different rules for their relationship. That cheating in a board game is when you break the rules. The same thing goes in a relationship. The problem is with a lot of heteronormative and monogamous relationships, all of us walk around with our rule book of how we think life works. And we assume that other people have the same rule book, but they don't. All of our rules come from different cultures that we grow up in, microcultures, macro cultures. And those things are embedded in our brain as like, this is just what people do. But it's not just what people do. And so when you're in a non-monogamous relationship, the thing that I do like about it is it puts you in a situation in which there have to be lots of open conversations about what are our agreements for our relationship. What do you want? What do I want? How does that overlap? And how can we make up some kind of set of rules for us that does work for us? And if this guy wants a non-monogamous relationship and is curious about that or wants to try it, I hope that he can find somebody who is willing to have that open relationship with him and is not going to lie to him about it while he's out on tour or whatever. I'm not sure who he is, but I assume he's some kind of celebrity that's going out on tours and shit. I think there's also different rules in the relationships, in non-monogamous relationships that people have. Within an open relationship, you can have rules around what your expectations are for emotional connection and what your expectations are for physical connections. And again, that has to be figured out by whoever is part of this relationship. That might be 2 people, that might be 3 people, that might be more people, just depending on what your relationship structure is. So I think he's right to call out. I don't like his conclusion that like open relationships are like not going to work for anyone. I do think that they work really well for some of us. You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. Yeah, I love that feels like a cage is not really love, is it? And rules in a relationship can also lead to a feeling of freedom. Rules are not just about restrictions, they're about agreements. How do we agree to show up and support each other? So it's not all about restriction. It can also be about like, what are we going to do? Love that quote. All right, let's take a look at some chaos on Reddit because that is always so entertaining. Okay. All right, let's read this one from basic_improvements 756. My neighbor was married with kids and I was single. He was like a bear and strong looking. I would always say hello with respect, but he always looked at me with this want of sex and I loved it. I wonder what exactly the look was that was a want of sex. Because sometimes I think these boys are horny and just make up like, oh, I think he's wanting something and he's not. But sometimes he really is doing that look. Okay, so he wanted it. Let's see where this goes. One Friday night, I invited him over for some drinks and an excuse just to hang out. I knew he wanted me, and so I put on my stocking with a thong, but with sweatpants covering my outfit. I was ready, and he came over. His demeanor changed when he walked in and started to flirt with me, complimenting me, saying that I was so cute, and why was I single? Yeah, Zaddy wanted him. Okay. I was flattered and said, thank you. I went to the kitchen and started to make a drink for both of us, and I felt him behind me. He started to rub his on my and it felt huge. Keep in mind, he was tall and built like a man. I was small, Latino, cute with a nice. Anyways, what a hot. Delish. Okay. Anyways, I started backing into the rub and he immediately grabbed my hips and started rubbing harder. I loved it. I love it too. Thank you. He pulled my sweatpants down and saw my thong and stocking. He was amazed and told me how much he wants me. I turned around and kissed him. He would grab my. Then I got crazy horny and took his pants off and started sucking his big, thick, 8 inches aggressively. This is pornographic. I could hear him moan and giving him a sloppy head with the drool going down my chest. Drool all the way down your chest? That is sloppy. I told him to lay down and wanted to ride him. That is my favorite position to start with because you can like open up, you can relax on it. It's so much better because these tops out here, they do not understand, most of them do not understand how to slowly warm up your hole so you can go for a marathon. And I'm like, girl, do you just want to sprint? Because I'm going to be done in about 30 seconds when you just ram it in like that. Ride it all the way. That's the best starting spot. Okay, seeing him lay there with his bare body, with his hard, got my hole wet. I mounted him and started to slide his cock inside me, and it took about 5 minutes to loosen me out. I started grinding him while he grabbed my hips. I would moan like a girl and could feel his rod stretching me out. Okay, wait, hold on. Moan like a girl. Everyone should be moaning in sex. Moaning actually helps turn on your body more, and the breath work also activates more of a turn on in your body. Without getting into all the sciences of everything, because I don't remember all the names of everything off the top of my head. I don't need to. Who cares? But basically, chemicals that your body's releasing, different endorphins, and your heart rate and your muscles, all of those things respond well to moaning and breathing deeply and heavily or quickly. So like you work in your breath and your moans into sex, okay? You're gonna have such a better time. It's not like a girl. It's like anyone that's enjoying or doing sex with their whole being. Okay. I felt his balls. I started to loosen up and started to jump on his. I used his hands for support, and I could hear the loud slurping sound drilling. By now, I'm screaming and yelling, "Daddy, I was going crazy. He started yelling, "I'm about to nut," and could feel his huge rod getting so hard and hot. I felt his huge load shooting inside me and yelling, "Daddy, please fill me up." I laid on his chest and kissed him for 5 minutes. Most amazing sex. And we still almost every day without his wife knowing. That's wild. That is a wild story. But I have thoughts. Since we're already talking about non-monogamy, I wish it was consensual, you know? Like, I wish that everyone was just not performing this stupid heteronormative rules that like none of us want to follow, that we would just be ourselves, be honest about what we want, and actually like ask for it and get it. The world would be so much happier. This is bullshit, okay? Lying and cheating. It is a hot fantasy. But again, I do have an issue with like sneaking around on the wife. I feel bad for her, but also like gay men are better at asking for directions than straight men. So at least this man, and maybe he was a good lover to her. I hope she was getting some good stuff. Anyway, also feeling a load shoot inside of you, is it just me or like I don't really feel it most of the time? I can think of like once, maybe twice where I thought I felt it, but I don't know if I really did. Like I've even had guys piss inside me and I can't feel it because it's like body temperature. Like it's hard to feel anything if there's not a temperature difference. Okay, all right, let's read another wild story. Here we go. I met this guy on Grindr, older than I by 10 years. Got a dick that's 7+ and he's skilled AF. He's a cool guy and we understand each other very nice. Understand each other very nice? So we got enough trust to do barebacks and cream pie stuff together. I tend to do cowboy with this guy every time we hook up because he likes how I move and his just feels amazing. One time while riding him, I just went faster and harder than usual and ended up coming hands-free on his belly. That's hot. We love a hands-free cum. It's happened to me a small handful, not even probably 5 times ever, and it felt great. That really got me screwed. So I laid down on him. We stared at each other for a while, and I don't know what came of me, but I just kissed him. Then we started making out. You don't know what? It just made you come hands-free, and you don't know what came over you that you kissed him? I can't with I love kissing, okay? Making out is like the foundation of sexual chemistry for me. Anyone that's like, oh, it's too much, or it's something that I only do some of the time, I'm like, I don't like having sex if there's not kissing. That's weird to me. To each their own, but I don't like it. Anyway, as we were in that, he kept thrusting until he came in me. That's fine. Love that. I remember that occasion as one of the steamiest I've ever had with someone. Love that. Going back to straight people for a moment, gays, you should not be having sex for free with straight men. Look, have your fantasy if you think the straight men are hot. They're usually really bad at sex in my experience, so I don't really enjoy them. But if you really love that fantasy, which is hot sometimes, at least get some coin out of it. Because again, they should not be, no. The amount that they are extracting from all of us, they should have to pay. That is my take on that. Here's another story. Let's do 2 more. It was missionary, and he had an 8-inch uncut. I do love uncut. Sometimes I'm like, gosh, why did my parents cut that thing off? I wish I had it still. Anyway, yum. His hips moved to the beat of WAP by Cardi B. I love it. That's great. He knew how to kiss and kept biting my lower lip like a tough piece of carne asada. I will never unhear that. A tough piece of carne asada. Now when I eat carne asada, I'm going to be thinking of biting lips and vice versa. Hands down the best sex I've had in my life. Wait, just because, well, okay. 8-inch, uncut, thrusting to WAP, and biting the lip. Best sex ever. Okay. Great. Those are 3 great things. I hope I find something as good as this in someone else. He set the bar very high. Sure did, it sounds like. All right, let's see. Let's read this. It's kind of a long one, but there's going to be a lot to react to here. Here we go. Well, the best I ever had, I fell in love with. He was fairly large, specifically in diameter and uncut. Again, lovely. Also, I think like uncut dick with big diameter thickness is a little easier than a cut dick with thickness. There's a little extra skin to slide there, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's just psychological. We had tried before, but the pain was immense. Loosen up. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Stretch out. You're not going to go on a run without stretching first, dumbass. Like, stretch out. All right. Later, I did some serious work to clean spotless and stretch with anything I could find to loosen my tight ass up. Good. Pre-stretching. Good idea. Love. Later that evening, we decided to give it a go, and it was long. The giant uncut covered head was past the ring. OMG, I was feeling full and tight. I'm not sure if he's talking about just like when he's saying the ring, because there's a few different rings that we have in our butts, but we have like our outer sphincter, we have the sphincter muscles that continue up like that far, and then it's sort of a cavern that's very stretchy, and then we have our second hole, which people also call another ring, that's further up, and that separates the rectum area where basically your goes in order to be like, hi, I'm ready to come out in the next bowel movement. Above that second hole is called the sigmoid colon, and that's like the last area where all the food that you've been digesting is going, and it's kind of storing up, and it's getting ready. It's dehydrating more, like the colon is absorbing more of the water from it, and it's getting ready to be dropped down into the rectum area to be expelled. So past that second ring is usually where people accidentally squirt water up into when they're douching, and then it like causes a mudslide, which takes hours sometimes to clean out all the way versus if you just clean out that rectum area before that second ring. So anyway, good information for you to know. Back to the story. The giant uncut covered head was past the ring. OMG, I was feeling full and tight. Hell yes. He was so freaking sweet and attentive. That settled me down massively. Sweet and attentive all day. It puts my nervous system at ease. And when your nervous system is at ease, you loosen up more and he can go deeper and longer. And it's just amazing. Okay. He inched in a little more and the middle of his was enormous. I can picture it already. I love this. A little push and that colossal stick sunk to his balls. And OMG, it was the greatest sensation I've ever felt. Hot. Once the largest section of his package went in and more normal at the base size, things just worked. I was also hard as a brick. I never said this before, but I got off all over the place, no hands at all involved, and he was slowly started making love. My soul left my body. How do we feel about the term making love? I feel like it's a very old, I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like it has a lot of pressure on it. I don't know. Making love. It just sounds Victorian to me. I want passionate sex. I want it to be hot. And I love my friends. I love my partner. Love is a comfortable emotion for me. But I don't know, making love often I'm a little bit like, what exactly does that mean to you? Because we're on the same page. Like I've had people say that to me before, and I was like, huh. Anyway, got off all over the place. Wave after wave of anal orgasms and already spent cum all over my stomach and his too. I hurriedly put a rag over my ejaculate because I was embarrassed at just how big a mess I made. I'm not sure if he ever knew he gave me the most luscious climax I've ever experienced, and after many years, I've not had another exactly that great. Unfortunately, that night was the last time we had sex, and he eventually married a woman. Damn it! She has to be the happiest girl on earth because he was a lover like no other. He could do no wrong in my eyes. I have dreamed of him so many times, wishing he could tell me he loves me and we could live happily ever after. I have this going downhill. I happy that I had that one special experience in whole body and soul love. It made me a better person. Okay, well, it was good while it lasted. I got judgmental at the end here with that, like, he can do no wrong in my eyes. To me, like, okay, I've been there before, and it's just not a healthy perspective of other people. Most of my experience of feeling like this person could do no wrong in my eyes was when I was in a relationship with somebody, and when you just turn them into some kind of god-like figure in your life or some kind of superhero that's no longer human, you set yourself up for disappointment because there's no longer realistic expectations of them to be a human with flaws. I think honestly this person is probably better off with that fantasy that they can keep jerking off to, or telling that wonderful hot story, but that relationship surely would have disappointed them eventually if that's the sort of treatment or expectations they have of that guy. But he does sound like he has a wonderful penis, and I would love that in my booty hole. So if you have one like that, let me know. All right, I think that does it for today. What a fun time just reacting to things. We're going to be gathering questions and stories from you all. So if you would like to submit anything, questions or stories to be on the show, please send an email to alex@heyalexgay.com or send me a message on Instagram at heyalexgay. Just make sure you let me know in either of those places, hey, this is for the podcast, because otherwise I'm going to think it's just a private conversation and that you don't want that to be on the show. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Have you ever kissed a boy before?
No. No.
It's really not so different from kissing a girl. Except, depending on whether or not the man has facial hair, it can be prickly.
I see. Well, it just so happens.
Would you like to try it?
Right now.
May I?